God forbid, to simultaneous attacks tonight. We knew it was al-Qaeda. What would you change about U.S. military stance overseas?
I think a president must move as swiftly as is prudent to retaliate. If we are attacked and we can determine who was behind that attack, and if there were nations that supported or gave material aid to those who attacked us, I believe we should quickly respond.
That was a question put to Democratic candidates in last night's debate in South Carolina. Senator Clinton's answer was the most direct. We'll take a look at the others with the Fox All-Stars. Fred Barnes, executive editor of the Weekly Standard. Mort Kondracki, executive editor of Roll Call. And syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer, Fox News contributors all. So the question seems particularly appropriate on a day when the Saudis disrupt what looked like another 9/11 style terrorist plot, including pilots planning to fly suicide missions into oil facilities, which would hurt both the Saudis and obviously the West as well. So we get a range of comments from people. Everyone, or at least we'll look at Senator Barack Obama and John Edwards here in a moment and look at theirs. In fact, let's look at what Barack Obama said first and deal with that.
Well, the first thing we'd have to do is make sure that we've got an effective emergency response, something that this administration failed to do when we had a hurricane in New Orleans. The second thing is we have any intelligence on who might have carried it out so that we can take potentially some action to dismantle that network.
So we'll get to Senator Edwards here in a minute, Charles. What do you make of the answers you heard? And what sense do you get of where the candidates stand on this? This is a very important issue for Democrats, to show that they're willing, or to give us an indication of how willing they are to be tough.
I thought it was the single most important question of the evening, and the answers were the most revealing. And certainly Senator Clinton thought so as well, because she pounced on it again today. The reason it was interesting is that in the Obama response, and to some extent in the Edwards response, there was this immediate emphasis on Homeland Security, on first responders. Obama talked about working with allies. And it seemed as if these, Obama and Edwards to another extent, were so spooked by the Iraq issue, they didn't realize that this was essentially a question about Afghanistan. Afghanistan was a war of righteous revenge and retaliation for an attack on 2 American cities. That's what this scenario was about. And Brian Wilson had said, how would you respond militarily? There was no answer in Obama's response about militarily. And Clinton understood instinctively and immediately that this was analogous to Afghanistan. And she answered with what at the time the American people had demanded, what they eventually applauded, and what even today the American people and Democrats as well support, the war in Afghanistan, retaliation against the bad guys.
Well, as you pointed out, she hammered that again today, Mort, perhaps because she saw some opening in the way the other candidates responded. Let's listen to what John Edwards said in his response. Now, I should say that, that he first said that he would immediately retaliate and look for who had done it, and then he went on to give this explanation.
Find out how that this happened without our intelligence operations finding out that it was in a planning stage. How did they get through what we all recognize as a fairly porous Homeland Security system? Did the weapons that created these 2 simultaneous strikes come through our ports? Were they in one of the containers that have not been checked?
You know, what that gives you is some idea of what would happen if a 9/11 attack happened tomorrow. We were united after the first 9/11. We get hit again, and the Democrats will pounce on the Bush administration saying, aha, it was ports, you know, and this will divide America. We're so polarized about everything that there is no unity anymore. It's all attack somebody else. Before we run out of the segment, I just want to say that I thought that the single most disappointing thing that happened in that entire debate last night was Bill Richardson's plan for Iraq. It is pull everybody out by the end of this year. That is precipitous withdrawal. It is a total bug out. This is a man who used to be the United States ambassador to the United Nations, you know, has been all around the world.
Not even the House, not even Nancy Pelosi is in favor of that.
Well, and yes, exactly. And this guy, you know, if he doesn't end up vice president, might end up Secretary of State. You know, I think he's totally disqualified for that. I mean, this is a bug out.
Fred?
I think when Richardson said that, I think that's exactly what almost everybody on that panel believes, what most Democrats believe, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, they all believe. But Richardson said it. They won't say it. They have timetables and they have benchmarks. That's what Democrats believe. They'd love to pull out by the end of the year. They think the war is lost. But anyway, I thought I love the fact that Hillary Clinton used one word: retaliate. That was the right word to use. She was much tougher than the rest. There was also another interesting question. It was one of those raise your hand questions, and I hadn't really noticed. Mort noticed it. He told me about it today. I think I dozed off or, you know, gone to see the NBA game. But the NBA playoffs are pretty good this year. But in any case, what happened is that was when Brian Williams asked about, is there really a global war on television, on terrorism? Terrorism. Is there really a global war on terrorism? Or should there be? Hillary's hand went up right away. You could see sort of slowly Obama's hand went up, and then Richardson's hand, and finally it was Dodd's went up too. The other four, they didn't raise their hands at all. Very revealing question and hands up answer.
And her response today was revealing as well as she hammered this home. All right.